Well, it's a good thing I cleaned out this ditch yesterday. Yeah. Hey all, welcome back to the homestead. We have had over 8 inches of rain in the last 9 days, and it's actually causing a little bit of a problem here on the homestead. The 3.5 inches of rain the 3 inches of rain we got last night has me rushing to our Cherokee Purples to save them before we have any problems. As you knew, if you watched last week's video, our black cherry tomatoes, we had a few starting to ripen, and we got 3.5 inches of rain Friday, I believe it was. Before we could get out here and get those ripe tomatoes harvested, they split on the vine. That happens when too much water comes into a tomato, and you'll see them split. I have 2 tomatoes in here that are starting to ripen, and so I'm going to go ahead and get them harvested now and get them on the counter and let them finish ripening there so they don't split and we don't lose them. Can you see those 2 tomatoes right there? That one right there. That one's the one that's got the most ripeness to it. The one next to it right here on its right is also starting to ripen. Everything else is hard green. It doesn't mean that the others can't split, but I know that these 2 that are ripening can. In fact, it's already started. Let me show you these. All right, so this one here is starting to split, and if I'd left it on there with all the rain we got, it would just get worse. This one has not really started splitting yet, but it is starting to ripen. So we're going to get these both put on the counter. We've had some more storm damage from these storms, and I'll show those to you in just a minute. But first things first, we need to get these put away, and then we'll get to the rest of the garden. These can sit there just fine. So if you've been watching the last couple of weeks, you know we've been working on the drip irrigation. I've got it all set up, and the only thing left to do as of last week's video was to set the drip rates on our emitters. That's still not done. It's rained. We've had, like I said, over 8 inches of rain in the last 9 days. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. So I still need to do that. I also still need to figure out how I'm watering these beans. I'm still thinking about drip tape, but I haven't bought any, and I really need to get on that. Speaking of the beans though, they have grown so much and they're looking pretty good, except for a few spots. So on some of these beans, they have leathery dry spots on the bean. It's wanting to focus on my hand and not on the bean. It's not all of them, but it's on several of them. It strikes me as a sunburn more than anything else. So anyway, I don't know if that's what it is or not, but they're not doing too bad. A lot better germination rate than I was expecting. Speaking of beans though, our pinto beans, again, this pot's only got 3 so far, but you can see we do have some blooms on that one. And the other one here, the big one in the back, I think is not far behind. This one here has blooms and it's wanting to climb just like its brother next to it. Oh my goodness, you will not believe what I just saw. But this one's climbing all the way up here. Do you see that? We have beans. We have several beans. I have missed these. That's exciting. That's real exciting. So let me show you the cabbages. They are a mixed bag. You can see this. I mean, the leaves we can pull back. This head don't look bad. It still has some damage on it, but they've continued to grow. The way they were doing earlier, they wouldn't have. So that neem oil looks like it's probably helped. You can see the onions are still growing. The heads are starting to form. They're just not as big as I would hope for. Hopefully they'll continue to grow and get bigger heads as time progresses. Now our squash and our cucumbers are still growing so well. And as you can see easily, without me even getting closer, which I'm going to anyway, so many blooms on this squash plant, and same over here on the cucumbers. Now, I have yet to see any male flower or female flowers on these, which is common. They always start with male flowers to get the pollinators to the yard first, and then the female flowers will show up once there's something to pollinate them. This Luffa plant has gone bonkers over this last week. It's loved the heat, the sun, and all the rain we've had. This has taken over the tomato cage, which I had just put here to try to help with green beans that never showed up. So I'm glad I put this cage here, because this little trellis I built would not have taken care of this. So it is all over here. I have so many different buds on this plant. If all the buds make, we're going to have so many Luffas off of these 2 plants. First year growing Luffas, so I still don't know what to expect, but this is crazy. It's huge, absolutely huge. And we're real excited about how this is looking. Just need to get those buds to open up and get them pollinated. As I said earlier, we got some storm damage. Nothing major in the garden. Nothing too major. I am sort of heartbroken over one of them. Really heartbroken over one of them. Here's the first damage. This huge cane snapped off in the storms. There were so many blooms on this cane, and it makes me sad. It makes me really sad. I'm tempted to just let it go, but I'm not going to. But this makes me real sad. But this isn't the saddest thing I've got. So yesterday I was out here working in this part of the yard because we found a couple of mulberry trees. This was one of them. And yesterday this looked like this, but it don't today. After the storm, it was snapped off. So I'm going to trim this and hope for the best. One thing I do know that we can do with these is take cuttings. I did that yesterday, and I didn't really intend to even talk about it until I made sure it worked. But let me show you how to do that. First, you do what I saw is you trim off the leaves. I'm trying to save the leaves because I learned that you can make a tea out of these leaves. So, you've got your cutting. Let me clean up the end. There's some buds here along this stick, and I'm going to trim it off. And then I'm going to scrape the end just a little bit. Now I could use like rooting hormone. The video I saw of them doing this, they actually used aloe, which I had never heard of before. But we don't have aloe. You would think we would, but we don't. So I just used my knife and scraped this off. Just like that. And then, and this is what I did yesterday, I have a total of 7 that I put in this pot. Well, I've just moved them around a little bit so I can add an 8th. And I stick it into a pot of dirt. And now we wait. They made it sound like it could take a couple of weeks, so we'll see how this goes. I've put it here so we can keep an eye on it from the porch. And hopefully we'll have 8 new mulberry trees that we can get planted elsewhere. Now let me take you to the thing that's got me the most sad in the garden. This has me most sad. I came out here earlier today and did a quick walkthrough. And this jalapeno plant with several small jalapenos on it was broke off. Best I can tell, it happened in last night's storm. However, a glimmer of hope are these leaves. Do you see them? One right there. One there. And one there. What I'm hoping is, even though the main part of this is dead, this will continue to live and get jalapenos later in the season. The other peppers, though, are still doing really good. This one here, you can see jalapenos on it and blooms. And then the orange sickle is doing really good. Now, it did lean over a little bit. I may need to add some sort of cage to it. But I've got the original orange sickle there. Then there's one next to it. There's like 3 right through there. Another one growing up through there. And more blooms and peppers at the top. So I'm definitely going to have to get some sort of cage put around that. But these peppers, they're not going to go to waste. I'm going to go ahead and harvest them and put them with the tomatoes that we put on the porch. So that's how the garden goes sometimes here in Oklahoma. We'll get those storms come through, drop a lot of rain, have lots of wind, sometimes hail, and the gardens can sometimes suffer. But the same rain and the same humidity and the same everything can make some things just flourish. Yesterday it was 110-degree heat index in the mid 90s. Today it's like in the low 80s and humidity's crazy. That's our weather and that's our garden. So right now what we're at is we're keeping an eye on the garden, looking for pests and diseases. We're looking for anything that needs to be harvested. With this amount of rain in, I'm looking out for tomatoes, any kind of blushing. I am trying to get those harvested and save those before they get a chance to split and possibly rot on the vine, because there's nothing more sad than a rotten tomato. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for watching. I'm Terry from TNT Homesteading. Here is our 2026 garden playlist, and so take a look at that. Here is our solar playlist, and I'd love for you to take a look at that. Anyway, y'all, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. God bless.